Gentlemen, we are so excited for the video that we are about to share with you guys today. This is something that has been going viral all across the internet, whether you've heard it on the Joe Budden podcast, whether you've seen it on Instagram, or whether you've seen it on TikTok. This next video is going to be completely transformative for your life. And after thinking about it, we as a Standard wanted to be able to share this information for free. This is one of the seminars where we had one of our C-suite executive coaches, Donald Knight, who is an absolute all-star, talk to the guys about the importance of having Belgian horses in your circle. And you may not know what that means now, but after this video, you will. Enjoy and see you on the other side.
Guys, how are you supposed to follow that, right? You've set the bar pretty high. I appreciate you, Heinz. I think y'all should take in the moment of where y'all are right now, because a lot of people your age, they were looking forward to the end of the weekend so they can get drunk. They were looking forward to the end. See, he's nodding his head already. They were looking forward to the end of the weekend so they can spend all their money that they made during the week. And the fact that you prioritized your own self-development this weekend has already cut you in a different class. So you should embrace that. You should give yourself a round of applause. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Great. For our rest of our time together, I'm going to tell you to never clap for yourself again. That's why I got it out the way. You can feel good about yourself. Oh, that's all great. At the end of the day, everybody around you is focused on your own development, which is great. It's amazing. But there's 7 billion people on the planet. And if you're trying to figure out what's going to make you stand out from everybody else, you got to stop clapping for yourself so often. That's the first thing I'm going to tell you. The greatest title I have in this world is Dalen's dad. I have a 12-year-old. His name is Dalen. He's a quarterback. He does theater. He runs track. He can play the piano. He speaks 3 different languages. And I clap for him now because I tell him when he gets older, people are going to stop clapping for him. There's so many people. You hear Kobe Bryant talk about this. When he made it to the league, he realized how Jordan was winning all those championships. LeBron also has realized how people have won all these championships because for them, just getting to the league was enough. That was enough. If you're sitting here, 9 times out of 10, you're either an entrepreneur or you're on the path to be an executive. So where are entrepreneurs at? Shout outs to the entrepreneurs. I applaud you all. I consider y'all in the concrete jungle because that's where the wild is. Every day you got to figure out how you put food on the table. If you don't hunt, you don't eat. That's where the entrepreneurs at. I respect y'all. Who's an employee on the path to be an executive? Right? There's a few of y'all. Cool. I see some hands over there as well. Y'all are in the trenches. Y'all are in the trenches every day because you work for a company that's not your vision. And you're trying to figure out how you're going to separate yourself for them to either give you the keys to run that company or for you to soak up so much game that you can pivot to another company that is willing to give you the keys. Y'all are in the trenches. That's also very difficult. It's a different game from being in the jungle like the entrepreneurs, but nevertheless, it's still a grind every day. Every day it's a grind. And who's everybody else that's not an executive or an entrepreneur? Who didn't raise their hands? What are y'all? Tell me what you do.
I'm an engineer trying to go to the entrepreneur route.
Engineer on the way. Okay, so you on the path there. What you got?
Exact same.
Same thing. Engineer on the path to be an entrepreneur. Who else?
Electrician.
You're an electrician.
Yeah, thinking about being an entrepreneur.
And you own your own electrical company, right?
Correct.
Nice. So y'all are on the path to either be in the wild or in the trenches. Good luck. Good luck, because there's 7 billion people on the planet, and everybody else is trying to get an edge on you. Now, y'all are getting an edge this weekend. There's 54 hours in a weekend. You're about to get an edge. All the engineers that want to be like you and start their own business, that's hanging out gaming this weekend. I know about Corsair. I know all the gaming systems. Come on, I'm a real dad. I know. My son plays those games, right? You getting an edge on them this weekend. The goal is to keep the edge. Never settle. Brian never settles. Brady never settles. Kobe never settles. But we're going to stop talking about sports guys because we always talk about them. Who knows who Kenneth Chenault is? Nobody knows who Kenneth Chenault is. Good. Who knows who Arnold Donald is? Nobody knows who that is. That's also pretty good. How many of y'all know who Robert Smith is? All right, we got some Robert Smith fans. They're like, yeah, I know who that is. Kenneth Chenault, black man, Fortune 500 company known as American Express. Made over $323 million being CEO. sits on every board of everything you could ever think of. Also is the general partner to Catalyst, which is one of the biggest VCs right now. That's Kenneth Chenault. Arnold Donald had the keys to the Carnival Corporation as the CEO. Carnival Corporation owns all of the Carnival cruise lines. The family that owns that, Mickey Arison, he's so filthy rich. He's a Jewish guy. He's so filthy rich, he could own the Carnival Corporation, give the keys to Arnold Donald to make all the money, and still could afford LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh in their prime. He got an edge. So this weekend, when everybody else is chilling on the Memorial Day weekend, and y'all came here, you got to maintain that edge. Because that's what's going to set you apart from being the Kenneth Chenaults, executives, or being like the Mickey Arisons, the entrepreneurs, or even Arnold Donald, the person that he gave the keys to. I never wanted to be Bron or Kobe. I love those guys. Never wanted to be those guys. I want to be the guys who can afford to own those guys. That's a different edge. Even the building we're sitting in is my mentor and my frat brother, Patrick Henderson. You were sitting in the House of Henderson right now. This is that. You should take that in. It's the House of Henderson. His wife is inside. She's a phenomenal human being. I remember when this was all gravel. It was not, there was no lights. There was no fires. He about to put 2 gazebos here just because he can. Because he can. If I want to put a gazebo in my house right now, I got to think about it. Like, I got to talk to my wife. She going, I ain't there yet. I ain't at that pat money yet. I'm close, but I ain't there yet. You got to maintain that edge. So I'm going to tell you 2 lessons. One is called pie. One is called Belgian horses. What's the 2 lessons I'm going to tell you?
Pie and Belgian horses.
There you go. There you were listening. I respect it. What's the 2 lessons I'm going to tell you?
Pie and Belgian horses.
What's the 2 lessons I'm going to tell you?
Pie and Belgian horses.
What's the 2 lessons I'm going to tell you?
Pie and Belgian horses.
What's the 2 lessons I'm going to tell you?
Belgian horses and pie.
Oh, you went. This guy's a zebra over here. I like it. In a herd, he stands out. I like it. Pie. You got your phones? All right. I'm going to tell you, every time I have these types of conversations, there's always 3 types of people. And so I don't want you to become one of these. I don't want all of you to become one of these types of people. But the other 2, I'm actually pretty cool if you become. The first person, there's one person who's going to be so hungry, they're going to soak up all of this. They're going to take the most notes. And I promise you, in the next 10 to 15 years, you're going to look at them and they're going to be on lists with Kenneth Chenault. To the man in that room or the men in this room that is that focused, I applaud you. You'll see me there as well. Number 2, there's the people that are like, they're excited and they're like, yo, I probably can't take as many notes, but they're going to reach back and they're going to be like Hafiz. They're going to be like, Hines, give me the recording. I need to double back on this. And in those tough times, when that stress and that anxiety start to kick up from being in the jungle or from being in the trenches, they're going to play this back and they're going to be focused. I applaud you as well. But that third guy that's sitting in this room right now, I never want to be him. This is the guy who's going to be excited in the moment. But he was just happy to put a suit on and hang out with the fellas. And he going to take a few notes and he going to fake it a little bit. And y'all going to see him around. But what's going to happen is each year, the first 2 groups, they're going to be killing it. And this guy's just going to keep chilling in the same spot. And over time, you're going to wonder, why is there a chasm between us and him? That guy that's in this room, I hope I never see you again. I hope that guy feels so uncomfortable around the rest of the guys in the first 2 groups that y'all pick him up and he's like, yeah, okay, we're going to get to it. First lesson, pie. Performance, image, and exposure. It's the 3 biggest keys to any entrepreneur or any executive. My man came in with the clean If you're going to show up late, you got to have a mean purple on. That's the great joint. I seen Hines have that on, man. That's nice, man. That's a beautiful one. What's your name?
Leo.
Leo. Where you coming from?
Texas.
What part of Texas?
South Texas. McAllen.
Oh, McAllen, Texas. Okay. Oh, you really South Texas for real. I got you. It's like McAllen, then it goes like Laredo, and then Corpus Christi. It gets like, I know where you at. I got you, man. Nice to meet you, sir.
Likewise.
Okay. Can somebody please tell this young man, what's the 2 lessons we gonna learn?
Belgian horses.
Belgian horses and pie. All right. PIE is an acronym for performance, image, and exposure. In this country, we tell people that performance is how you get ahead. That's what we tell people. You got to operate with excellence. If you're a minority, your parents tell you got to work twice as hard, baby. Right? Look, he like, yeah, damn right. That's exactly what my grandparents told me, right? That's what they tell us. You got to work harder. In this country, that's what we sell. We sell working hard. And that's beautiful. Like performance is like 20% of the game. It's only 20%. We will never tell people that on like Fox News or CNN or I don't care where you get your news channel. We'll never tell them that. On BuzzFeed, we'll never tell them that it only makes up 20%. And the reason why is because you got to earn the rest of this. Like you got to earn the other 80%. And if you're not in a circle that is teaching you about the 80%, you will only focus on the 20%. So I have friends, I got frat brothers that work hard. And they crush it. They got amazing operational excellence. Got all the right MBAs, MSAs, all of them. Doctorates, PhDs. And then they wonder why they're not winning. Performance is only 20% of the game. How you perform is only 20% of the game. It's just like the league. When you get here, everybody can dribble. Everybody can shoot. You're not special. This is why I told you never to clap for yourself. We got the clapping out the way. Never gonna clap for yourself for the rest of the talk. Because performance is only 20%. You heard Hines talk about being high value. Let me dispel a myth for you. If for you to be in the top 15% of all men in this country, you only got to make $130,000. Now, Steph Curry makes multiple millions of dollars a year. Michael Rubin, part owner of 76ers, Fanatics just got another bump in their evaluation. If you don't know what Fanatics is, it's a big sports company. They do a lot of apparel. Most of the sports gear that people buy, they're not even buying from the team. It's a licensed deal with Fanatics, and you're buying from Fanatics. If you ever bought a cap from Lids, Fanatics owns Lids as well. Michael Rubin just got another evaluation. His company's worth almost $20 billion. He's doing this in his sleep, right? In his sleep. But you know what he recognized? Performance is only 20%. He went to college. It's like, this ain't gonna work, so he left. It's a billionaire. 20% though. Performance is only 20%. If you're working at a job and you're trying to get that director position, that senior director position, that managing director position, assistant VP, VP, senior vice president, C-suite, performance is only 20%. They're never gonna tell you that, but it's only 20%. And everybody in here can perform. I know you can, because you're choosing to use your Memorial Day weekend to be here. It's only 20%. But you got to do the 20%. If you don't do the 20%, you can't get to the I or the E. I is image. Now, image is broken into two things. One part of it is perception economics, which is what Hines will talk to you about if he hasn't talked to you about that already. That's your aesthetic. How do you look? Do you attract people? Do they want to know who you are? Do they want to know your name? Do they feel like you're a person of value? When you walk in a room, does the room shift? My man walked in with the grape. I was like, whoa, like, it's a good suit. That's only part of it. The image I'm talking about is how you're perceived. Are you a collaborator? When you work on a project with somebody else, do they say nice things about you? If you're an entrepreneur, are you on time or are you late? My man Daka was doing the photography and the videos. He was on time. I know, because I was early and he beat me. That's on time. My perception of Daka is I've never done work with him, but if I ever have to go get photography or videography, I'm going to hit Hines and I'm going to be like, yo, what's his number? Because I see the way my perception of him is that he handles his business. He's a phenomenal shooter. He give you all the great content, but he's also a great businessman. He on time. Same thing with Patrick. Me and Patrick have invested in houses together. Why? Because he delivers on time. He's not late. Just look around you. This house is beautiful. He's not skimping on the finishes, right? You know what I'm talking about. If you ever did a flip or you invested in real estate, you know people who skimp on finishes. Those are the people that are only trying to get a bag. Don't do business with them. Do business with people of quality. That's your image. How are you perceived? If you're an engineer, it's the same way. When you go talk to VCs to raise capital, because I got one of the biggest private equity groups that are invested in my company, TPG Capital. They just did a deal with Angelo for $73 billion, and nobody even sneezed. It was like light work. It was like ordering TGIF Fridays on a weekend, and I don't even eat chain food, right? Like, your image, what's your perception? That's the second one. That's 30% of this game in America. How you are perceived. So John Kasich ran for president. He's a phenomenal governor based out of Ohio. He's a conservative, but great guy, family guy, humble guy, has led Ohio, had great economic numbers in Ohio, but he's a boring guy. So we'll never elect him to be president. Hillary Clinton, on paper, is the most experienced person on paper when she ran for office against a guy who never had experience in politics. You know what the problem is? Her image, the way we perceive her. She talked like a liar. Nobody wants to say this real talk, right? This still the standard, right? We're trying to elevate the standard. Right? Okay, that's why she couldn't win. The perception. So after you perform, you gotta make sure that perception is right. There's people I work with, they piss me off, but I can't tell them what I really want to say because it'll throw the image off. I'm the ice cream guy, bro. At work, people go out of their way just to go get ice cream with me. My investors, they go out of their way to stay late just so we can go grab a drink. My mentor is the GM for the Yankees. His name is Omar. He used to be the GM for the New York Mets. And anytime I get with Omar, I talk to him because I be pissed off. Like, it'd be people at work, particularly as an executive, they be really getting on my nerves. And he's just like, yo, sports and business is the exact same way. You get a foul, you can't complain to the ref, you might get that tech. That image is important. The last one is E, exposure. Exposure. Leaders will never give you exposure if your image is bad and your performance sucks. The only people who get ahead in life are the people who are willing to give them exposure on how to get ahead. Hafiz and Hines are willing to give y'all exposure in multiple cities, with multiple leaders, in multiple settings, because they know if they expose you to that, the majority of you will never want to not be a high value man again. Whoever you showed up when you showed up to the standard, your standard will change. That's exposure. We're in the House of Henderson right now, right? Patrick gave me exposure to real estate investment in Atlanta. I didn't live in Atlanta. I moved to Atlanta in 2019. I'm not from Atlanta. I don't know a bunch of things about Atlanta. But because he gave me that exposure, I'm able to make some money off real estate in Atlanta. Exposure is the biggest game. Because the people that you build favor with, they will do things for you that you can never earn. Back in the day, they used to call it the boys club, good old boys club, because more deals were brokered at a bar and at a golf course. But guess what? That's where the exposure happens. That's where the exposure happens. So you invest in Snapchat and Meta and Amazon when they go public. But because my mentor got the keys, I invest before they go public. You making me money because I got more equity. Then I cash out and you still make me money because you want to see them be successful as well. Who's the biggest investor in Nike? Who's the biggest investor in Nike? Does anybody know that?
Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett is not the biggest investor. That's a great one, though. That is a great answer. He is one of the biggest investors, though. Michael Jordan is not even a top 10 equity owner in Nike. The biggest investor in Nike is Swoosh LLC. You can Google it. Swoosh LLC. Do you know who owns Swoosh LLC? Phil Knight. Phil Knight can control a publicly traded company that he owns because someone exposed them to the idea of formations of entities. So Swoosh actually owns more patents of Nike than Nike does. Wow. Ray Kroc owned McDonald's, but he didn't found McDonald's. And if you haven't watched the movie The Founder and you want to be a shark in this country, I strongly encourage you to watch it. It should be required watching for all high-valued men. Ray Kroc understood he was the business development guy, he was the sales guy. But the owners, the brothers, the McDonald's brothers, they didn't have exposure to being on the road. They didn't have exposure for hitting the grind every day and really growing the company. What he realized when he brought great ideas back to them, he also got frustrated. But he didn't ruin his image. You know what he did? He partnered with people outside to buy the real estate right underneath McDonald's. And that's why McDonald's is actually a bigger real estate company than it is a fast food company. One of my best friends, Howard Schultz, worth about 2.5, 3 billion. Really good guy. Born 33 years on the same day as I was born. Did not found Starbucks. But he's the most famous person in Starbucks history because he was chairman and CEO. He stepped down to CEO, he's still chairman. Howard Schultz, Jewish guy. His house just like this in Seattle. I mean, some people got like disrespectful money, bro. Like you walk in the room and you just like, yeah, I just gotta do better, bro. I don't know what I'm doing, I gotta do better. Howard got that kind of money. Howard worked for Starbucks, was the business development guy. Went and did a tour in Italy, came back and told the owners of Starbucks, I got all these great plans, we're gonna grow, we're gonna grow, we're gonna grow. They were like, no. You wanna do coffee houses. We're a coffee roaster. We don't do that. He bought the company 2 years later for $3.6 million. Now, Starbucks has over $1 billion in the bank from all of us who leave money on our Starbucks accounts. It's free money because people want to be able to walk up and have the convenience of scanning. I tell you that because you got to have exposure to those types of people and those types of deals. And the only way you get there is if your image and your performance is right. So every day that you wake up and you're trying to get your slice of the pie, remember what the real pie is. If you don't remember what that pie is, you'll get distracted because women will like you for your performance. I see my guy right here. What's your name again? Jay? Dre. I've never met Dre in person, right? I seen Dre on Instagram all the time because Heinz keeps posting all these reels from the Standard, and you're typically in those reels, right? Many of y'all are, but I remember you because your hair, my son's hair is very similar to yours. Women will come to you because of your image. The way you perceived. Legit.
I seen it in his eyes when I shook his
Bro, yeah. They will come to you because of your image, the way you're perceived. You got a suit on, you got a good job, you drive a nice car, you work at a great company. Do not allow those people to distract you from getting your pie. You got to go get that exposure. You got to. And each time you build upon that, that exposure is 50% of it. 50% of it is exposure, 30% of it is image, 20% of it is performance. That exposure is huge. That's how you can get away around tax loopholes and everything, legally. I ain't talking about these like marketing guys on the internet that's doing all this scamming and credit cards. We are not the same. Okay, that's pie. What's the two things we said we're gonna talk about today?
Pie and Belgian horse.
Belgian horses. Who knows anything about horses in the room? Where my equestrian guys at? Oh, was you raising your hand?
I got a horse farm behind my house.
Okay. What kind of horse you got?
No. It's not my horse.
Oh.
But not yet.
I respect it.
To go to your point, there is a Belgian horse.
Yeah.
Weighs like 2,200 pounds.
Yep.
And is strong as hell.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure you're going to illustration.
Oh, you already know where I'm about to go. Belgian horses. It's the only people I hire from my team. It's the only people I even allow me to run in my circle. The reason why I can move my vacation, I literally moved my vacation. My EA told Heinz, you can't get the deal done. He got to go to Greece with his wife. It's like, it's not going to happen. I moved my vacation because he's a Belgian horse. I used to meet with Heinz. Most people don't even know this story. I used to meet with Heinz in the year 2021. I met with Heinz for almost 6 months for free. For free. He didn't pay me. I didn't pay him. And I would meet with him and we'd talk about all these dreams and visions he had for his business. When I first met Heinz, he worked at Suit Supply. Now he supplied the suits. It's a totally different game. It's a different game. He's a Belgian horse though. Belgian horses, strongest horse on the planet. You can Google it. Average Belgian horse can pull anything between 12,000 and 14,000 pounds. They're not the fastest. They're not the fastest. If you want to be quick, you don't go get a Belgian horse. They are the strongest. Who said that? You did. What's your name, sir? Samuel. There we go. Samuel's correct. They're the strongest horse. 12,000 to 14,000 pounds. Now, did anybody major in math or accounting? Okay, what's your name? Henderson.
Ensign.
Oh, Ensign.
Yeah, like a car engine, but with a Z.
Ensign. That's dope. Okay, Ensign. You could do the math for me. If the average Belgian horse can pull between 12,000 and 14,000 pounds, how many pounds can 2 Belgian horses pull?
Twice that.
Huh? Twice that. Can you give me some actual numbers, please?
Okay, so 12,000 to 14,000?
Yep.
24 to 28.
Incorrect. You said you're the math guy, right?
I did.
Okay, Ensign, I'm going to ask you again.
Okay.
If the average Belgian horse can pull 12,000 to 14,000 pounds, how many can 2 Belgian horses pull? How much? It's at this point that the math guy is questioning himself. Right? Ensign, what you got?
So you said 12,000 to 14,000.
12,000 to 14,000 pounds. How many pounds can 2 Belgian horses pull?
And it's not 24 to
3,000
28.
to 4,000.
Huh?
3 to 4,000.
3,000, 4,000. That's incorrect. I'm going to let Ensign phone a friend in the room, which is the last time I'm going to ask him. If the average Belgian horse pulls 12,000 to 14,000 pounds, how many pounds can 2 Belgian horses pull? What you got? You gonna help him?
I was going, can I guess?
You can guess.
I'm going to say like 35,000
You could say 35. 35 what?
pounds.
35,000 pounds. Ensign, you're in a good company. You're in real good company. He said 35,000 pounds. Why would you say 35,000 pounds?
Honestly,
Why?
I know the illustration already, so I'm not going to say it.
Okay. I don't mind, but you can say it.
Okay, I think it's like basically when you got 2 people working together or 2 horses working together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if it's a mental thing. I think they pull more together because it's like the load feels easier.
Hey man, this guy right here, what's your name again?
DJ.
DJ. Y'all better keep him around. Keep him. This is the guy y'all need to keep around. He's a good guy. Your math was correct, but you used logic. And the reason you use logic is because you weren't exposed to what Belgian horses can actually do. Mathematically, you are 100% correct. They should be able to pull 2 times their weight. But here's the beautiful thing about the strongest horses on the planet. When you yoke 2 strong horses together, and they're both Belgian, both of them are willing to overexert themselves to tell the other one, I'm setting the pace. That's how they get to 35,000 pounds. The average is anywhere between 30 and 40,000 pounds, but because you said 35, you were dead center. I'm gonna say you were right, DJ. Now, how many of y'all got Belgian horses in your circle? Okay, you could pull. Be mindful of what you're saying right now. I ain't say guys you like. I got guys in my fraternity I like. Me, Hines, and Patrick in the same fraternity. We got guys we like. That don't make them Belgian. We know the guys that's really Belgian. So I'm going to ask again, how many guys have Belgian horses in their circle? Okay. The fact that everybody's hand didn't go up, there better be some circle changes after this weekend. Right? I got people in my family. I tell people there's a difference between relatives and family. Relatives I was born into. I'm going to love you because I was born into it. That don't mean I got to spend a lot of time with you. My family, Hines is family. That's why I'm here. That's why I moved to vacation. He family. Belgian horses. You got to find people. If you setting the pace in your circle and ain't nobody outpacing you, that's a problem. I haven't seen Pat in weeks, right? Probably months. I just haven't seen him. Like we talk, we text. We saw each other today. He was like, yo, bro, we got to catch up. I'm like, yo, you got to catch up. He was like, no, bro, I got these projects around the city. I'm like, bro, I've been on the road. He's like, cool. So we going to figure out how we get time together. The reason why me and Patrick can't catch up all the time is because we're both Belgian horses. We both setting the pace. He killing it in real estate. I'm killing it in tech. Our company just got our evaluation back. We got to praise at $2.5 billion. If we go public, that's probably going to be $10 billion. I'm going to give a lot of money to Pat for him to build a lot of houses. Right? That's the goal. But if I'm only setting with guys that's not setting no pace, bro, then they holding you back. You only giving 12 to 14,000. That's all you pulling. And if that's the only guys that's around you, you're not tapping into your real potential because them people holding you back. Same thing can be said for a relationship. Right? The woman I married is phenomenal. They don't even make a woman that can distract me. I'm keeping it a buck with you. Because if she look good, is she a doctor? Because mine is. So if you just look good, if she just got the image, okay, you got the image. But how you perform? And what can you expose me to? My wife taught me the importance of emotional labor. My wife taught me the importance of being an ally for women in the workplace. That's what my wife taught me. My wife taught me around, hey, this dude I had in my circle when I was coming up, she was like, yeah, he not going to be around. I was like, how? He hating on you. He don't like you like that. I can peep his game. His handshake ain't matching his smile. That's Beanie Siegel. My wife can spot that. She sees stuff I can't see. Because I'm out here trying to set this pace. My wife is the reason I'm a good dad. She the reason I'm a good dad. Because she had a good dad. So she was like, look, we're not playing none of that game stuff. All them dudes that just say they want to focus on growing their career and growing their money, what that mean if you ain't spending no time with your family? So I hit the road hard, but I hit being a father even harder, bro. Right? You got to make sure who you yoking yourself with. And for the dudes that's like spiritual, the Quran and the Bible talks about who you yoke yourself with. The Bible says you got to be equally yoked. If you a Belgian horse and you yoking yourself with a Clydesdale, what is you doing? What is you doing? You saw my man. So look, when y'all got here, right? Pat was cleaning up. He cleaning up, he mopping, he making sure the house right. You know what his wife was doing right next to him? She had the leaf blower. I can't make this up. You can ask him. Why? Because he equally yoked. He got a Belgian next to him. You got to be very mindful who you yoking yourself with. These internet dudes that's out here scamming people and doing credit cards, they got the Bugattis now or whatever the little fancy looking cars is. Where they at 15 years from now? What list they on then? What their marriage look like then? What your kids look like then? That's what matters to me. That should matter to you. The guys that you're spending your time with and the relationships you getting yourself involved in, and there's going to be a party here, it's going to be DJ. I ain't telling you not to have a good time. I'm just saying put it in perspective. Be very careful who you yoke yourself with. If you a Belgian horse, there's a certain pace you're supposed to be running at. So if you're not reading the books, if you're not studying the people in your field, the different software engineers that have started their own companies, the guys that have turned executives, if you're not studying those people, if you're not up to speed on the market, I ain't telling you to go invest and give your money to these little marketing guys. I ain't telling you to do that, but you should know when the market moves. You should know the difference between a bull and bear market. You should know that because you're a Belgian horse. And you should surround yourself with people who's going to help you run at that clip, who's going to help you run at that pace. That's why I like Kobe Bryant so much. Out of all the NBA players that ever played, I think Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time, and I don't want to debate that. I think LeBron James is one of the greatest of all time. But the reason I like Kobe is because Kobe understood solitude. That's where growth happens. Anytime you see somebody growing, it's in the wilderness. Ain't no growth in the lights. Ain't no growth in the club. The Belgians ain't in the club. And if they are, it's because they're checking on their real estate investment and looking at all the money you're throwing in it. That's what the Belgians are doing. And so I ask you, if you really want your pie, you gotta be Belgian. And that ain't a part-time job. That's a full-time job. Brady was a full-time quarterback. In the offseason, he cared about what he ate. LeBron James spends over $2 million on his body. But let's not talk about athletes. If you go look at Melody Hobson, does anybody know who Melody Hobson is? Founder of Ariel Investments, multi-billionaire. She just was one of the investors with the Walton family on the Denver Broncos. Her husband married a Belgian horse. Her husband is George Lucas. Whole family full of Belgians. They just walking around, just money everywhere. It's like, oh my goodness. But their minds, the way that his mind works, he understood he could have had any woman on the planet. He's George freaking Lucas. He can get any girl he want. But he chose a Belgian. The guys that choose Belgians, I promise you, they win. And that's not just me telling you, that's studies. If you go look, in 2015, there was a study on all generals and admirals in all of the armed forces. And they did this study. They wanted to figure out, what's the DNA of a general? Like if you make it to general or admiral, Like, bro, like you're leading killers every day. Guys with the strongest mentalities. Both my parents are military, so I love like Goggins and I like dive deep on stuff like that. What they found is that 92% of them were married to their first wife.
Really?
Different races, different creeds, some bald, some nice hair, some nice hair, some nice hair, right? But the consistency is that they were married. Something tells me, in order for you to reach a certain pinnacle of success, the relationships around you matter even more. And the one that you come home to every day, that person in your house, the person who can disrupt your peace, the person who you creating financial wealth with and investments with, the ones who's guiding your children, something tells me that's the most important relationship of all time. So as y'all go out here and y'all have fun and y'all live it up and girls like you for your performance or your image, be very mindful that if you want that exposure, you gotta be Belgian. Now, what I've told Hines, because I rock with Hines, I rock with Hafiz too. This is my first time meeting Hafiz. First time I talked to Hafiz on the phone, no lie, we was like grilling this manufacturer like crazy. That's a whole story. Hafiz will tell you about it. If he want to give you a humble moment, he'll tell you about it. He was like, yo, it was a phenomenal story. But this is what I've told them. I believe there's real Belgians in this room right now. I really believe that. The fact that you prioritized your weekend on a Memorial Day weekend in America, when this is probably one of the most, it's like this weekend, Black Friday, July 4th, those are big weekends in America. The fact that you're here lets me know you're willing to prioritize yourself. So I'm willing to prioritize you. So I told Hafiz and Hines, they can figure it out what it looked like. I'm a coach all the Belgians in the room. Personally. And my son, Dalen, one day y'all gonna meet him and you're gonna be like, yo, your dad was telling me about pie. He was telling me about Belgian horses. And Enzen got the math question right, but he got it wrong. Like that's that's what y'all gonna tell my son. One day my son gonna look up to y'all. He gonna look for the Belgian horses. He not gonna listen to me all the time. I'm his dad. He gonna look for other Belgian horses. So I personally want to coach all the Belgians. I want that. Like the way Rob Parcells has a coaching tree, people that came from his coaching tree, man, I want the Belgians from my coaching tree. And I'm gonna introduce you to other Belgians in your field. And we gonna meet on a regular and recurring basis. And I guarantee you, you're gonna feel what it really feels like to go get that image and that exposure so you can remain being a Belgian. Other than that, it has been a phenomenal time talking to each of y'all. It has been a pleasure. We'll open it up for Q&A, and then I know Hafiz and Hines got a whole party planned for y'all. So it's really been an honor for me to be able to talk to y'all today. What questions? Any?
I'll start it.
Oh, he got one. But go ahead.
This is one of the questions that I always, would ask Donald, especially, when I first started hanging out with him. Donald, how do you manage your energy when it comes to being able to perform not only at a high level in your work,
Yeah.
right, but also in your relationships, right? As a father with your wife, because like I've literally seen you get off the plane or wake up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., you're on a call in Ireland on the other coast, do yoga, then meet me at the gym. And then still take Dalen to school, wake him up when you come back. Then still be there to, pick him back up, play with him outside after he gets done with football. Like, how do you manage the energy to do all that and still make time for your wife, making sure the husband that you are? Like, what's going on in your mental that allows you to do all of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the same way I told y'all Hafiz can tell y'all about the manufacturing story, y'all should ask Hines about our gym story. We got a gym story together that's pretty hilarious. I don't compromise my routine for nobody. Nobody. Every day I got the same routine. I wake up at 3, I do my meditation, I do my scriptures, I do my yoga. I either then run and then go to the gym, or I go straight to the gym. I have a yoga instructor. I shouldn't even call him that. That's disrespectful. I have a yogi named Coleman, and he taught me the importance of filling my cup first. I fill my cup first in the morning, And through the rest of the day, everybody else gets the overflow. Y'all getting the overflow right now. So if you think I'm passionate or got any energy right now, you should have saw me at 9 a.m. this morning. You should have saw the way we was whipping the company into shape because we trying to make sure we hit that $3 billion number before we go public. You should have saw me then. You should have saw me at my board meeting on Tuesday. Or when I flew in from New York yesterday, but I was in Barcelona on Saturday, and I had to fly to LA on Sunday just to make sure I was in New York for my board meeting on Tuesday. That's just last week, bro. That's just last week. I tell people, I see a lot of dudes get excited, and they not really doing nothing. Bron dropped 40 and 10 in the playoffs, and he lost the game. You think he was happy about 40 and 10? We put up 40 for fun, bro. Like when you with the Belgians, this is fun stuff now, bro. So for me, I gotta have that routine. You gotta figure out what your routine is. I'm not gonna tell you that it's always waking up early. What I will tell you is I believe in if you looking at what to do, go look at the people that have been successful and you'll find similarities. What I have found is that if you don't like to wake up early, that's cool. But a lot of the people that are successful, they do wake up early. And the reason why is because, man, the day gets away from me. My afternoons don't even belong to me, bro. They belong to my son. They belong to the company if I'm taking investors out or coaching somebody who husband is deployed, but she's trying to figure out how she can close a deal for the company, or is going to dinner or meeting up with my mentors or coaching dudes in my circle or literally spending a quality time with my wife. Date nights are super important for me. They're on the calendar. My boss knows. My CEO knows. I report straight to my CEO. He knows. From 7 p.m. on Friday to 7 a.m. on Monday, that's Ashley time. So if you call me, she Belgian, don't play. It better be important. And he's called me a couple times, right? We going through acquisitions, he'll call me. We doing a reduction in force, he'll call me. But he know, look, don't nobody want to get on Ashley's bad side. You do not want them problems, bro. You think I'm bad, bro? She runs circles around me. So that routine, you got to fill your cup every day, man. I fill my cup every day. Every day I fill my cup. And then y'all get the overflow. But if you don't fill your cup and people get to the body of your cup, that's when stress, anxiety, depression, that's when that sets in. That's when people just taking from you. You making it so they like, oh, you know, mama want $1, your brother want $1, your cousin want $1, your girl still want this bag. My wife don't ask me for bags. That's luggage. What we carrying? That's not what we trying to carry. We're not carrying a bunch of luggage. Erykah Badu had a song called Bag Lady. That's gonna hurt your back. Carrying all your bags like that. You don't need all that, man. So my routine is like legit, bro. It's pretty intense. Great question though, Hans. I know you had your hand up, and then I'll make sure we work around. What you got?
So I just want to number one, thank you. I definitely appreciate you taking the time to talk to us all. As a father, hearing your story and hearing how you had that fill your cup first so you can take care of everybody, like that really resonated with me.
Yeah.
But the question I had, man, I know you mentioned that you want to, be coaching us. Like, what do we have to do to get access to that?
You got to talk to Hines. You got to talk to Hafiz. Yeah, any of the coaching, like I'm a defer to them on how they like make that happen. I'm sure they got some structure or rigor. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, talk to them. They'll make it happen.
Roger, I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna just work my way this way, and because I saw these two hands, and then I'm gonna come back to you, and then come back to you. What you got?
How do you tell the difference between exposure and distractions?
Ooh, that's a great one, man. Exposure always makes you better. Last year, the Celtics lost in the finals, and it hurt. And they were down 3-0, and now they're down 3-2. And as much as I'm a Jimmy Butler fan and I love the way he plays the game, the thing that's working against him is the Miami team was exposed to failure in the bubble, and they've been fighting to get back. The Celtics was exposed to failure last year, and they're fighting to get back. Anytime it's a loss or a win, as long as you can tell the difference between exposure because it makes you better. You learn from it. Distractions won't make you better no matter how much you rationalize it. There's women that I spent time with before I met my wife. They didn't make me better. It was a good time. But they were a distraction. Nothing about it made me better. Now, honestly, the experience was half exciting afterwards anyway. So I probably shouldn't have been there in the first place because our mind wasn't right. She looked good, but our mind wasn't right. But the girls that may not be for you and y'all still go separate ways, you know it wasn't a distraction because she made you better. You walk away from that like, damn, I need to be more gentle, bro. I need to learn how to be more kind. My anger, I had to work on that. Me and my dad don't get along, so I had to work on them daddy issues because it showed up in that relationship. If it's work, it's like that happy hour, it's exposure if you build in proximity with a leader and you get better, but if it only requires you going to happy hour all the time, it's probably a distraction. So it has to make you better. And failures make you better. I know a lot of people feel like they perfect. Bro, I'm not perfect, bro. I'm not perfect at all. I get stuff wrong as a husband. I get stuff wrong as a father. And I get stuff wrong as a business executive. I don't get it right. Not all the time. It's impossible. I believe the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. And if it's truly exposure, it should make me improve. But if it's a distraction, I won't improve. So I probably shouldn't have been doing it in the first place.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I got one, then it was one, and then one. Okay, what you got?
So, two small questions.
Okay.
What exactly encompasses exposure? Is it people, ideas, concepts? Is it everything? Like when you say, "Oh, I'm getting exposure," I thought you meant what you meant with image. Oh, I'm getting myself out there. I'm doing this. But you're saying, I'm being exposed to new ideas, people, things. It's the whole, everything inside of that?
Exactly. It's new ideas, new relationships, new ways of thinking. It has nothing to do with the aesthetic on exposure. It's all about, you might have thought the world looked like this, or you thought this around. Like Ensign will never forget Belgian horses. Some of y'all will, Ensign will never forget it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's new ideas, it's new concepts, it's new ways of thinking about something. It's a new perspective. And a lot of that exposure, it will be inbound. So it'll be outbound. Like you're seeking it, reading the Wall Street Journal, reading the Market Watch, reading books like Crossing the Chasm or Atomic Habits or Seven Highly Effective Ways of Leadership by Stephen Covey or any of those things. That's outbound. You're looking for it. You're like searching for it. But in America, to really, really make it, it's inbound leadership. It's like, I remember pulling Hines to the side, and we talked about this before it happened. He'll tell you that. We named this standard. I was on my way to a Mexican restaurant. He called me. He was like, "Yo, bro, me and Hafiz got this crazy idea. We've ironed it out. We just got to get a right name. What's the right name?" I was like, "All right, like, give me like 5 minutes." 5 minutes, I called him back. I'm like, "Yo, bro, you about to change the standard. It's called the standard." Hung up the phone. And then all y'all showed up. It's a new way of thinking, though, right? New way of thinking. So it's that exposure to new concepts, and all of that, man, is like, that never stops. Yeah. Like the ones that's really killing it, bro, I ain't even really killing it. The guys that's like really killing it, they're always still trying to expose themselves to more. New tax strategies, new relationships, new ways of thinking. So yeah, that's what exposure is. I'm glad you asked that question because some people could think it's image, like the aesthetics. That's image, but that's not the lion's share. The lion's share is those new concepts. Is that fair?
Yeah.
You said second small question. What's the second one?
I was shocked that you said 20% is performance.
Everybody is.
Because it seems to me that whenever you go looking for information, like you're saying, performance is really stressed.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be able to do this, you got to be able to do that. So I'm wondering, where do you draw the line, and what becomes my performance versus the exposure?
Yep. That's a great question. The reason in this country we push performance is because we know it lies to people.
That's right.
The people who really have exposure don't want everybody to know the answers.
Right.
So we look at Coca-Cola. James Quincy lives right here in Atlanta. Phenomenal CEO. Made about $20 million last year. $20 million will get you a really nice house. It can get you this house.
That's good.
Does really good. Yeah. Warren Buffett made $800 million off Coca-Cola last year. And never put a cap on a Coke bottle. Get what I'm saying? Like, the difference is The performance is, when you get into a room full of Belgian horses, everyone can perform, bro. It's like two magicians doing magic tricks with each other. It's like, oh, I pull a rabbit out the hat. The other one's not impressed because he's like, I can do that too. That's the performance piece. The stuff when it comes to your team or the exposure, that's the things that's going to get you to grow. So if you work like you're an engineer, you about to start your own business. The exposure would be which VCs are more inclined to invest in your business than they would in hardware companies or real estate. Who are those VCs? Is it Andreessen and Horowitz? Or is it Silver Lake? Is it TPG? Or is it Vista Equity Partners? That's the exposure. Because once you get exposure to them, now you know where to go focus your time. The way I tell people is this. Performance is like going to the range and you trying to hit the target, but the lights are off. You may hit the target, you may not. But with the right exposure, the light turns on and it becomes a lot easier for you to hit that target every time.
And you've already practiced with.
Exactly.
You can hit the shot.
Exactly.
You need the lights.
And then the target changes because you're Belgian. So you can hit from 100 feet, but can you hit from 300 feet? Magic Johnson did an interview with Maverick Carter, and he was like, he can't even talk about certain deals anymore. The deal got to be this big. Like, he's not even looking at deals that's not 100 million no more, bro. Freaking Magic Johnson. But he did the Starbucks deal that Shaquille O'Neal turned down. Right? Like, he's doing way bigger. He owns the LA Dodgers, bro. Like, it's a different level of exposure now. He used to be a ball player. Now Magic is so far from being a ball player, it's almost disrespectful to call him a ball player. And that's what you want for your business. Same thing for the guys that's in the trenches that want to be executives. You want to figure out, okay, cool, like, how do you get exposure on the next M&A deal? How do you get exposure on the next global expansion to a new country? How do you get exposure in the next HIPO program, high-performing program from the learning and development team at your company? That's where that love's going to come from, bro, that exposure. That performance, man, that's honestly, man, that's like general admission, bro. Everybody performs. It's general admission. Does that answer the question for you? Cool. I know there's a guy there, and I know there's a guy here. What you got?
So my thing is, how do you go about, after you've got the exposure now, how do you go about building those enduring relationships with the people? What does that look like for you in action, right? Whether it's getting a new client, whether it's partnerships, whether it's getting investors, how do you implement that?
It's a great question. To cultivate real relationship, it takes maximum effort. I'm going to say that again because a lot of people don't do that. To cultivate real relationship, it takes maximum effort. The same office I met Hines in is the same office I met Pat in. Patrick, the guy who built this house, who owns this house. I met him in the same office. Patrick, before I did any deal with him, I was pulling up to deals at his other projects. In fact, I'm gonna put him on the spot. Hey, Patrick, come here, bro. I'm gonna put him on the spot because you're talking about relationships, and I really, really want you to understand the power of maximum effort. Because a lot of dudes don't give maximum effort; they give some effort. Pat,
Yeah.
come tell these. How many projects did I pull up to before I invested with you?
Stalker.
Say it again. Say it again.
Stalker.
Stalker.
I mean, he was pulling up. We were out here building some of the developers, so we'd be outside, just checking out what we have going on. He pull up, and hey, where you come from? Because we have several houses on the next street over, and we pull up to those as well. Come follow me at other houses all across town. So
I used to think he was stalking us.
There's one time. So first of all, when it comes to the people you want to build relationships with, how you gonna set yourself apart from them? He one of the top developers in the city. Everybody want to do business with this dude. What's gonna set you apart? The second thing is you got to demonstrate humility. A lot of times for Belgian horses, they don't want to humble themselves. I make amazing money. I got an amazing company. When I pulled up with Pat at his house on the lake at Lake Spivey, the way I was working the boat, like roping off and hopping off, the guys in the boat with us thought I worked for him. That's what kind of effort I was. Am I lying? Neo thought I worked for you, right? That's what I mean. So you got to do the same thing for your customers or any mentors that you have. When you cultivate that relationship, it's maximum effort. You want to be top of my, huh?
You got to be intentional about everything that you do. You know, if there's something that you want, if it's something that you want to be involved in, you put forth maximum effort and be relentless in any and everything that you're trying to do. It's
Yep.
a must. I have people that follows me around trying to work for me, and they'll come on my job sites and they'll just shadow me 6 months, 8 months before I can hire them, because I want to see how determined they are. And then when they show me how determined they are, then I'm gonna give them the bag, because I know that when the chips were down, even if they were making nothing, they were still at the table.
Yep.
And those are the people that are winning.
Yep. Same thing with your customers, bro. There's this thing called purple cows. If you've never heard of it, he clearly, whenever I say something, I see somebody, he like, bro, I know that one, right? The purple cow effect. So a couple drives in the beautiful mountain range of Sonoma or Napa or Aspen or Vail. When they first get to the mountain range, guess what the couple says? Oh, it's a beautiful mountain range. Look, it's beautiful. They turn the next corner. Oh. Eventually, they get desensitized to how beautiful the mountain range is until they see a purple cow. You got to give your customers, your mentors, purple cow moments all the time, maximum effort. There's restaurants we can go into, bro, like they'll bend over backwards because they're like, yo, that's nice. That's a purple cow. There's investors Pat can call. They'll be like, yeah, bro, like we'll give you the money. It's nothing. Purple cow. You got to do that for your customers. You got to do that for your mentors too. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my question was very similar to that one.
There you go.
I was going to ask how do you go about maximizing the efficiency of the exposure aspect? Because in my endeavor, in my attempt to maybe get in the right rooms, talk to the right people, it at times can seem like you kind of have to be like inviting, right? Not all the time, but that's kind of how it seems at times.
Yep.
So, you know, I would like to find a way to be able to cultivate those relationships and do those things so that you can be invited.
Yeah.
I understand the exposure aspect as well, but what are some things a person can do to maybe, you know, set out and shake hands with the right people, be in the right rooms? Where are the right rooms? You know, like that kind of thing. That's kind of my confusion with the exposure aspect, because I feel like there's levels where you kind of have to be pulled up to a degree, but I could be wrong. I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
It's one of the realest questions I've ever heard. If you didn't hear what he said, is it feels like at times you have to be invited. And I'm here to tell you the truth. You got to get invited. Not everybody worthy of the invitation. That's why that exposure piece is so important. So that performance and that image, if you're doing that right, eventually you're going to get that invitation. And when you do, you got to be a purple cow, bro. Like, I ain't going to lie, bro. I wear it as a badge of honor that Pat and his wife say, I stalked them. Because I know dudes who make not even a tenth of what I make, and they never stalked him. They would never do it. They're too above it. They feel like they've arrived. You got to get that invitation. Now, here's the thing. Once you get that invitation, it's like getting invited to the combine. Now you got to show out when you get there. And that's not where it stops. Because if that's where it stops and you start acting like a knucklehead, you're going to end up like Ja Morant. Ja Morant got the invitation in his 20s. He's set. But he messing up his exposure. Now he's turning into tainted goods. There was a gentleman my parents retired in Virginia. And there we go. What part of Virginia you from?
Richmond.
I'm from Richmond. What high school you went to?
Oh, well, I didn't grow up in Richmond.
What?
I grew up in Stanton.
Oh, you went to Stanton. Okay, right outside of Charlottesville.
Yeah.
Yep. Did you go to college in Richmond?
Yeah, VCU.
I went to VCU too. There you go. Small world. I got my MBA from Robin School at Richmond. Small world. We should talk. I bring that up because the most talented guy to ever come out of Virginia is only debated between two people. And this will be very controversial. The two top talented people to ever step foot in the state of Virginia, like be born in Virginia, is Allen Iverson and Chris Brown. And it's not debatable. Chris Brown should be running circles around Drake. But the reason he's not is because he makes bad decisions. And the reason Drake is because he makes good decisions. Allen Iverson, if you think he was nasty on the basketball court, you should have seen him as a quarterback. He was insane. Insane. There's no catching him. The reason why Allen Iverson is not hailed as one of the greatest quarterbacks He is held as one of the greatest basketball players of all time, but he could have had way better stats than that. He made bad decisions. So when you get that exposure, you got to maximize on it, bro. And that invitation is going to come, right? Because you're going to keep putting yourself in position to be worthy of the invitation. You're going to be the guy working later. You're going to go to the right meetings. When you go to some of the happy hours, one of my favorite tricks, I'm going to give you one of my favorite tricks. I get a tonic water with a splash of Midori because it looked like a mixed drink and it don't got no alcohol in it. Now, all the dudes that get slush face talking in front of the CEO, like, bro, see, y'all messing up. I got all my faculties. And y'all look crazy. It doesn't mean I don't drink. I do drink. I love wine. I'm a big wine guy. Love bourbon. But when I'm going there, I got an agenda, bro. My agenda is to be the purple cow. I want all the invitations, bro. If the creator made for me to be worth 99 million, 98 and a half will piss me off. Because it means I sacrificed the potential somewhere. If the creator wants me to have 100 relationships and I only get 99, I'm pissed. I'm so serious, bro. Because I want all that's supposed to come to me, which means if I didn't get it, something didn't go right. What didn't go right? So you got to be the same way. Be that intentional, bro. You're going to earn those invitations. I promise you. And when you do, maximize on the exposure because there's plenty of dudes that when they get it, they fumble the bag. They fumble it. One more. Okay. Uh-oh. All right, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. I got to honor him. I'm going to honor him. So you ask your question, you answer your question, and I'm going to answer them both at the same time. Can we do that? All right, we'll do that. What's your one question?
Yeah, but real fast. You sound like you're a man of routines. You mentioned atomic habits. What was your life like before the routines? Or were you always a guy that just woke up early, systems in place? What were you doing before that?
That's a great question. What about you?
I was going to ask about, like, where do engineers fail when they want to evolve from the engineer to the tech executive?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So 2 questions.
That's a loaded one, I apologize.
No, that's fine. What was I doing before I had my routine? And then the second question was, if you're an engineer and you want to get more into like the C-suite or the leadership, what do you need to do to evolve? I'll answer the first question. What was I doing before? I didn't have my son. I had my son in 2010. My son is the only reason why I'm kicking everybody's ass in business. It's not even close. Because I didn't have all the 20s everybody else had. I had them at 24. I'm 36 now. So yeah, my goal was to be an executive by 35. I did that by 31. My goal was to be C-suite by 40. I did that by 34. So 31, 34, only because at 24, I put that routine in place. So yeah, I was straight out of B school. I wasn't doing much. I was smart, but I wasn't maximizing the time. And then the second question is, how does an engineer particularly position themselves to pivot into leadership? The first thing you would do is talk to leadership. In America, bro, honestly, man, the game's so easy, bro. Americans are so, how can I say this respectfully? Arrogant, bro. They're arrogant. There's so many CTOs on LinkedIn. So like, you should act like you're a sales development representative, an SDR, and figure out who are the 5 CTOs I'm gonna hit up this week. And if I can't get to the CTOs, how do I talk to the SVPs? And if I can't get to the SVPs, how do I get to the VPs? And if I can't get to the VPs, how do I get to the directors? And if you talk to enough of them, they're gonna be impressed by you because you're a Belgian horse. If you keep talking to them, they're gonna mentor you. You're gonna get, and then eventually they give you the exposure. Hey, yo, man, there's this, we're gonna be hiring for a VP. It's a confidential search. And honestly, I need you to apply. Because all the other people that are applying, they suck. That's how those deals get happen, bro, for real. So you gotta like build I call it proximity. You need to build proximity to those people. Make those folks so enamored with your performance and image that they gotta give you exposure. And then when you get there, be the best Belgian horse they ever seen in their life. My CEO, I tell him all the time, like, I got tons of equity in the company, and every year my goal is to bring in more money than he's paid me and what I have in equity. You wanna know why? Because at the end of the year, I need him to give me more equity, more. So last year, he gave me some pretty good equity. It was 7 figures, it was pretty good. I brought all that in though, I closed new deals. So like this year, we've been talking a little different conversation, right? And that's what you want, man. That's what you want. So you gotta build proximity to them. I want to make sure I'm respectful of this young man in the sunburnt orange suit, looking flyer than fly, double-breasted. He did not come to play with y'all. He did not come to play with y'all. Honestly, man, it has legit been an honor to talk to y'all. I know my son will be looking up to many of y'all, and anything I can do on your path to success, if I could be a bridge, I'm happy to do so. When it comes to the coaching thing, get with Hafiz, get with Hines. We'll figure out what that looks like. I must hang around for maybe like another 20 minutes. Then I got to go home because legit, I fly to Mykonos in the morning. All right? Thank y'all. For real. Thank y'all.
Guys, look, I know that video was absolutely amazing. And if you're anything like me, you're probably leaving this video thinking, man, look, where can I find other Belgian horses around me? Other men that are committed to excellence and that I can yoke to the side of me. They're going to push me to do more, be more, have more. And if you're anything like me and you're having that feeling, that gut feeling in your stomach that you want to be around men of excellence, well, look no further and make sure that you go to the link in the description below and sign up and apply for the Standard, a community of excellence where men like Donald are consistently pouring in and speaking to our community, and where you can find other men who are Belgian horses that you can go and have alongside of you as you complete and get to your full potential as a man. So look, again, go to the link in the description below, sign up for the Standard, and looking forward to seeing you on the other side.